Thank you, Carl. I'm delighted to be presenting at the Franchise Summit this year. What I hope to share with you will inspire you and add value to you, your family, your business, and ultimately your community, and leave you questioning and reevaluating everything that you do and what current events and future trends mean for you, your family, your business, and ultimately the life you want to live. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, smart cities, data mining, blockchain, NFTs, the metaverse, the Internet of Things, augmented reality, transhumanism, digital currencies, and digital IDs. The list is endless. Even our mobile phones will soon be obsolete. There are currently over 500 technologies being introduced into the world that by 2030, we will be living in a very different world. Movies like Back to the Future, Johnny Mnemonic, The Surrogate, Demolition Man, Contagion, and many more movies like these are not so far-fetched and soon to be a reality. According to the World Economic Forum, the one scenario they have is that by 2030, you will own nothing and be happy. I don't know what this means exactly, and I'm not sure I like the sound of that. What I do know is that all of us have worked really hard and made many sacrifices to be where we are today. We will take a brief look at past and current events and then have a look at future trends that will have an enormous impact not only on our lives today, but also for your children, your grandchildren, and future generations. What happens now changes everything. What happens today matters. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of the Great Reset, a reset to our world, a reset to the way we're being governed, a reset to the economy. And as I speak here today, we're having a reset to our monetary system. Perhaps that's our cue to have a reset of ourselves, review the way we think about things and revisit the way we do things. Right now, the world is in crisis mode. We're in the middle of the fourth cycle known as the fourth turning, where baby boomers are coming to an end and the next generation will flourish. Sadly, it will not be Generation X. Generation X is the awakening and unraveling generation. Generation X, I believe, will determine the outcome by what we decide to do next. We've innovated and introduced products and services and technologies like no other generation in history. Through our thoughts, actions, and emotions, we created the mess that we're in. And so it's our responsibility to get us out of this mess. We are now the captains of industries and leaders in our communities. And we have the wisdom and understanding of what it was like, of what to do and what not to do. And we've also experienced living in a fear-based environment, which is not a healthy environment. One way to know that we're in a fourth turning is a sign of war. The traits of war are loss of life, disruption, food shortages, changes to power, changes of law, old systems become obsolete, and new systems are formed. We are without a doubt at a crossroads. The writing is on the wall. We can decide to either keep our integrity and figure out together how we understand this world and what it means for us, or we can ignore it, in which case we will live in a highly controlled environment where the few control the many. If you visit the World Economic Forum, the Health Organization, the International Monetary Fund website, the Federal Reserve, any government website, even Bill Gates is letting us know what is to transpire. There is a plan being implemented, which has been in play for some time, 5 decades, according to the World Economic Forum. We've just all been too busy to notice. And realistically, without the internet, none of us would be the wiser as to what plans are being implemented by those who have the power and the resources. As business leaders, franchisors, influencers, thought leaders, consultants, coaches, or mentors, it is up to us to find these puzzle pieces and piece the plan together so that we know how to plan and what to look out for, and then decide on the best strategies so that we position ourselves to keep our heads above the water and to thrive. In a time of disruption, there are plenty of opportunities to be had, but you need to know the game plan. The rules of the game are clear. Various scenarios have been drafted. and the roadmap has been given to us. There are two paths before us, centralized and decentralized, on-grid, off-grid, as above, so below, as within, so without. All conversations taking place, whether it be in finance, economics, religion, science, all have the same outcome or viewpoint. A new beginning, a fresh start. The veil has been lifted. Old systems are becoming obsolete. And what we did before is no longer working in our favor. We are at a pivotal time in history. It is a great opportunity for us to be the change we want to see in this world. It is now time to decide which world you want to live in. The question to you today is, are you aware of the plans and motions so that you too can be in on the game and decide what is best for you and your future generations? This is about your vote, your voice, your ID, your privacy, the people you deal with, your credit score. Every single department and the institutions we rely on will be impacted in some way by new technologies, current world events, and what we decide to accept. If you're going to impact change as business leaders, influencers, and citizens, we need to see ourselves as the custodians of this world and take responsibility for the outcomes to ensure that technologies enhance our lives and that laws being passed align with our values and are good for the planet. If we do not take responsibility in deciding our fate, then lawmakers and large corporations will continue to decide our fate for us. The question is, are you happy with their decisions to date? South Africa is not immune to this. Laws are being passed right now that could impact our lives forever and also the lives of our future generations. Food shortages are on the cards, and we are already experiencing major disruptions to our systems and to the country, with a goal of bringing the country to its knees in order to introduce new systems, new policies, and new rules. A new way of living. We can make ourselves aware of what laws are coming and what governments are doing behind our backs so that we too can position ourselves so that we don't become casualties of war. We need to educate ourselves and keep each other in the loop. Have open discussions and meaningful conversations on issues that will impact us and participate in activities that will influence change within our communities. It is not the time to keep your head in the sand and pretend that everything is normal. Based on what we've spoken so far, life is going to be difficult and challenging for many, especially for those who are not aware of the plans already in motion, as the disruption continues until 2025. The road from now until 2025 will be a rocky road for many, as systems collapse and new technologies come to the forefront. Whilst it's important to embrace these new technologies, we must be aware of the dark side of these technologies and make sure that they benefit not only ourselves, but our communities and our environment. Another concern is the rising cost of inflation. A recent article in Business Tech Online titled "South Africa's Middle Class is in Serious Trouble Right Now." South Africans have 31% less disposable income, and consumers will need to spend about 62% of their take-home pay to service their debt. And it's going to get worse. We're in a cycle of increasing inflation and rates that will result in even less disposable income as consumers use more of their take-home pay to service their debt. How are you going to have customers who don't have money to spend? This will have a direct impact on you, your family, your business, and your future. If you're in debt, you need to start getting out of debt. It is time to educate yourselves on how money works, understand tax law, the energy of money, and especially the new financial system. It is critical that we understand what decentralized finance means for us and the potential it has to get us out of the debt cycle. Or we can ignore it and follow status quo and allow centralized systems dictated by lawmakers to take place, which means more control over how you spend your finances and we stay slaves to debt. Another consideration is how we view our customers, our employees, and the general population. Without empowering our customers, we will have no customers because they need money to spend. How do you adapt to these changes and technologies? And do you and those who work with you have the capacity to adapt and move with these changes? Observing world events and browsing discussions online from all over the globe, a part of me is concerned, but another side of me is really excited about the future. Never before in history have we had a time where people can connect across the globe, share and exchange information, to learn and do business, and equal opportunities, markets and business without borders. We are no longer restricted by our location. Education has become freely available, and so have the possibilities of being able to earn an income. And yet, when I look around me, people are anxious, cannot find jobs. People feel overwhelmed, insecure, and are hurtful, exhausted, and frustrated. People seem to have no sense of direction and are desperate for a better outcome. Families are being torn apart as people immigrate to find work, and more people face unemployment. On the other side of the looking glass, it looks as though as soon as we've made great strides to be able to reduce poverty and improve the world we live in, governments want more control. Slavery is at an all-time high, and large corporations are capitalizing on creating chaos. One has to wonder, how do we get it so wrong when, in all honesty, our world should, and everyone in it, should be thriving? How can we thrive, and how can we help others to thrive? As business leaders, we need to listen to what people are thinking and saying and experiencing, because when we understand what people are thinking and what they're saying, you'll be able to drive change and deliver better and create new products and services. We then need to look at current world events and future trends and see how we can bring together ideas and opportunities to help our suppliers, employees, and customers on their journey with us. If we don't, they won't have money to spend. In my research, which took me on a journey way back in history, it is evidently clear to me that most of us have been running around in circles without a clear plan of direction. I include us in this scenario because most of us, if not all of us, have not been aware of a greater plan organized and implemented by key stakeholders, people with influences and power and resources. We may have heard bits and pieces of a plan which most of us deem conspiracy. However, this plan has been in motion for over 5 decades, but none of us have really understood how we are connected to these plans. Wealthy families and organizations working in collaboration. The game plan has been out in the opening plan site. We just have to tap into it and learn how to play the game. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is about understanding that like businesses have plans and goals and objectives, so too have those who have money and power. It is about being made aware that there is a plan and then figuring out how we can align ourselves and our families and our communities to benefit. And this includes our customers, our suppliers, and our employees. Whether it be a pandemic, an economic event, a war, an environment catastrophe, those who have the resources and the means set the stage so that they can introduce new products, new innovation, write new laws, and then get people to support these plans, because ultimately they need people to buy into what it is they have to offer. As business leaders, thought leaders, and influencers, we need to take our roles seriously and become custodians of this world. Many like to think that we have no power, that everything is out of our hands. I would like to believe differently, that we do have power and we've been given the tools to do so. Being equipped with information, we too need to set the stage and drive change and offer products and services that people will need. People drive change. This is something we need to remember. It is us, not governments and not corporations. Take Bitcoin, for example. It wasn't government or banking cartels that introduced Bitcoin or gave it any value. It was people that made Bitcoin so valuable. People wanted their independence. They didn't want to be dependent on government. They were fed up with the bank printing money, which made us more poorer. People wanted a better system. The only reason that government and corporations and banking cartels are now buying into Bitcoin today is because we gave it value. If they could, they would ban Bitcoin because of the threat to their existence. If people drive change, then as business leaders, thought leaders, influencers, coaches, and mentors, we need to become players of this game so that we can minimize risk and help our communities to do the same. We need to position ourselves and our businesses so that we can adapt and evolve, so that we do not offer products and services that people no longer need, which will result in us becoming obsolete. If there are over 500 technologies being introduced into the world today, it is safe to say that if you're not part of the tech world, you are not going to survive. If you're technologically challenged or if you have resistance towards technology, you need to change the way you see and view technology, because if you do not embrace technology, I'm sad to say the likelihood is that you could become obsolete. Let's say, for example, you're a taxi driver or an Uber driver or even a truck driver. What happens to you in the next 8 years if we're going to have self-driving cars and trucks that will be the main mode of transport? What happens to couriers if drones are going to be able to do the deliveries? Whatever you're doing, you need to assess every single system, every single process, and figure out how to align yourself with new changes, new laws coming, and with technology. What does robotics mean for the restaurant trades with robotic chefs and robotic waiters? What does it mean if you're in hospitality or travel? What happens if the World Health Organization has total control over countries should they warn us of another pandemic? These are the questions we need to be asking ourselves and each other. And we need to actively participate in decisions made that may either benefit or not benefit us as a collective. This is not a time for greed and profit. It is a time for rebuilding and questioning everything we believe, everything we support, everything we follow, and everything we do. The goal is to prevent continued wars and chaos, destroy debt, reduce hunger, and to demonstrate by our actions who we truly are. To become a better person than we were yesterday, and to be a positive contributor to ourselves, our planet, and our communities. I believe the franchise sector and the business sector is perfectly positioned to do this as leaders in our communities. As leaders, you are ultimately responsible for everyone, because without you, nothing exists. And at the same time, without the person cleaning for you, the person removing the garbage, or the cashier checking out people's goods, you wouldn't have success either. It is time to ditch the old way of leadership and invite new ways of working. Appreciate those who have walked the journey with us and value those who are willing to be part of our ventures, to look at those who are willing to go the extra mile to support you on your venture. If we don't help people to earn an income through innovation and education, sadly, we will not have customers who can buy what we have to offer. And this is all of us. It is a time for doing what we can to support our customers, our staff, suppliers, and those in our communities. If we don't, we will not have customers for today and for tomorrow. People need money to spend, and if we're too busy paying money in servicing debt, then how will they have money to spend with you? It's about figuring out how we can work together in supporting each other so that we can move through this crisis together and weather the storm. It is a time to be kinder and to uplift each other where possible so that you can have customers today and in the future. Change begins with us. Become explorers, pioneers, and captains of your industry through mindfulness and transformation. Be willing to take responsibility for your actions, good and bad. Embrace technology that will benefit both you, yourself, and those who work with you, and also the environment. Become a good listener and a collector and distributor of information. Connect with people who are a good fit for you. Work with organizations who are supportive of your venture. and operate with integrity. In closing, just a reminder, disruption and chaos is predicted to last until 2025. We need to be very mindful how we're spending money. Food shortages are on the rise. Learn how money works so that you can minimize your risk and reduce your costs and expenditure. And share this with others. Be open to sharing your knowledge so that you can have customers for today and tomorrow. Help your staff, educate them, uplift them. Pay attention to lawmakers and the laws that are passing that impact us and future generations. Support people who are wanting to be part of your journey. Pay attention to technologies that are being introduced, because while technologies can greatly enhance our lives and it is a huge advantage, it can also imprison us, as it has a very dark side. And it can happen so quickly without you noticing. Change the way we work and do things to make life easier for not only ourselves, but everyone. And then to practice mindfulness and operate with the empathy. You cannot do it alone. We are going to need each other. I'm going to close with this message. Thank you. I'm Romany Thresher at romanythresher.com.
Stay with your brother.
Hello?
Is the pharmacist in here? I'm looking for 10 liters of Legroin.
You won't get those stains out of that dress. Better buy a new one.
It's not for my dress. It's for my carriage.
Are you trying to poison your horses?
Do you have 10 liters or not?